We know not everyone can keep up with all the news from the week, and that's why CBS News Colorado has gathered stories that topped our website from the last week. So here is a look at some of the stories that garnered the most interest on CBSColorado.com. Safety is top of mind for many people in Colorado, and now we know our state is the third most dangerous, according to a list from U.S. News. New Mexico and Louisiana are the only states more dangerous than Colorado. The authors looked at violent crime and property crime rates to determine the list. FBI data shows in 2022, our state had 492 violent crimes for every 100,000 residents. When it comes to property crimes, Colorado is second worst in the country with 3,148 property crimes for every 100,000 residents. Yesterday, CBS Colorado crews gave viewers nonstop coverage of a crash on I-70, which shut down the interstate in both directions. Officials say the driver of an SUV died after hitting a tanker truck. This happened between Genesee and Morrison. Those driving on the highway were backed up in hours-long traffic as firefighters got the fire under control. They responded to injuries and dealt with hazardous materials, all in an area where they were trying to keep a major wildfire from starting. Crews finally reopened the road last night. This week, we told you about a major update in a case we've been following for more than a year. Two of the teens charged in a deadly rock-throwing case out of Jefferson County have pleaded guilty. We learned of Zachary Kwok's plea last week when he pleaded guilty to assault charges. On Wednesday, Nicholas Carolchick also pleaded guilty, but to second-degree murder. They are both expected to testify against Joseph Koenig. Investigators believe he was the one who threw the rock that killed Alexa Bartel. Search crews found the body of a hiker yesterday in Rocky Mountain National Park after he went missing last weekend. 23-year-old Lucas Mackay from Colorado Springs was last heard from Sunday afternoon when he texted a friend that he was going to hike Long's Peak. Officials tell us they think Mackay took a significant fall. A CBS Colorado investigation is uncovering that top leaders at a metro area fire department have been repeatedly taking their wives with them to conferences and sticking taxpayers with the bill. This has cost taxpayers thousands of dollars and has been going on for years. Your investigator, Brian Moss, tells us more.
South Adams County Fire responds to some 10,000 fire and medical calls each year. They're now trying to extinguish a figurative fire they set themselves.
I do think it's a violation of the public trust.
The violations found in hundreds of pages of expense records from South Adams County Fire, showing that when the department's chief, administrators, and board members traveled to winter conferences in Florida, they extended the trips and brought along their wives, all at the expense of Commerce City taxpayers.
The wives are just kind of tagging along, and it's a misuse of public funds.
Jane Feldman ran Colorado's Independent State Ethics Commission and is now chairperson of Denver's Ethics Board. She says what we found isn't even a close call.
Well, definitely if they're coming early and bringing their spouses, that definitely sounds like a vacation. Nobody likes to pay money in taxes, but I don't mind paying taxes if I know it's actually going to something that's going to benefit my community. This doesn't benefit the community.
In February, the fire chief, deputy chief, other chiefs, and a board member, all with their spouses, traveled to this hotel in Florida for a two-night conference that started on Tuesday, the 27th. But records show all those couples arrived on Sunday, 2 days early, with taxpayers paying thousands of dollars for extra hotel nights. And all those extra bodies meant renting $1,000 premium SUVs that could hold more people. And when the conference was over by lunchtime on Friday, they all stayed another night, claiming they couldn't find appropriate flights back to Denver. While there, check out these dinners, some costing around $1,000, with all the spouses being fed. One night, they rented out part of this club, throwing themselves an $1,800 party with a top-shelf dinner, virtual reality games and sports simulators, all with wives included. So many plus ones adds up to a problem.
I don't even think it's a slippery slope. I think it is almost always inappropriate.
In 2023, the department did much the same thing, going to the same conference in Orlando days early, staying extra days after it was over, spouses along for the trip, thousands of dollars in additional expenses. And when the group traveled to a fall conference in Keystone the last couple of years, same thing. Spouses included, lavish, expensive dinners, and a couple of extra hotel nights on the back end after the conferences ended. Additional costs for taxpayers. The fire department repeatedly refused our requests to be interviewed.
They're looking for frivolous spending.
But in a recent meeting, the chief, who's been taking his wife to conferences, and the board chairman, who's regularly taken his wife to these conferences, complained about our open records requests.
All these damn call requests come in every single time. Stuff's got to stop. It's got to stop.
If you are taking a trip on the public's dime, you should be careful with the public's money.
I'm Brian Moss, covering Colorado First.
The Avs kept their season alive on Wednesday night, and they need to win again tonight at Ball Arena. But on Monday night, it was a different story. An hour before that game, the NHL announced the Avs will be without one of their top goal scorers in the playoffs. That's Val Nichushkin. He was suspended for 6 months. Up until Saturday's game against the Stars, Nichushkin had scored in each of the Avs' postseason games. The league hasn't announced what led to Nichushkin's suspension. Colorado leaders are taking steps to rename mountains and passes because of derogatory terms. Now, a term that's an offensive reference to Indigenous women is in the spotlight after Clear Creek County says it will make some changes. Your reporter in the mountains, Spencer Wilson, tells us why this change is a sign of the times. The former names of 3 roads included the S word, a derogatory name no longer used. There was a Little Pass, Old Pass, and a mountain trail. So the neighborhood was able to vote in a survey for what the new name should be.
It was kind of weird for them to have a derogatory slur against Native American women on the road where they live.
Those 3 roads are now named Pine Valley Road, Blue Sky Trail, and Raven Ridge Road. In Adams County, the community is rallying around a Brighton Farm. Residents have been pushing back against the city since it gave eminent domain to install an underground water drainage system on part of the farm's land for new development. The worry is that the project could put the farm in jeopardy. Gabriela Vidal is your reporter in Adams County and looked into the issue.
It's been a staple to the Brighton community for nearly 100 years, with Polizzi Farms growing and serving fresh produce like the jars of honey you see behind me. But now residents worry that new construction tied to new development could potentially hurt the farmland.
When Brighton residents think of Polizzi Farms,
I think of the best produce that we can have sourced locally.
It's not just the fresh produce, the fresh flowers and other trinkets inside that come to mind.
I used to come here for 40 years. We drive from Denver. I bring my kids. It's been a really special place to us for a very long time.
To think of this being under threat or pressure is absolutely untenable to me.
Brighton residents like Tammy Smith have been pushing back since learning the city of Brighton gave eminent domain for Parkland Metropolitan District Number 1 to install an underground water drainage system on part of the farm's land for new development south of Bromley Lane.
I didn't know anything about it until I saw the signs and then started to read it on Nextdoor.
A website called Save Polizzi Farm claims the proposed permanent easement, which would extend across the farm for the drainage, will disrupt the 2024 farm season and eventually make the land unfarmable.
So the fact is that they would have to bring heavy machinery, heavy equipment in to accomplish what they're trying to do with the drainage. Heavy equipment is bad for the health of the soil.
CBS Colorado reached out to Parkland Metropolitan District Number 1, but have not heard back. Back in September 2023, when city leaders first heard plans for the project, one council member asked developers whether Polizzi Farms would be impacted.
I want a clear answer. So once this is done, can they farm that land?
Yes, they'll be able to farm over top of the pipe.
But residents,
we are community. We will support our own, and we will not go quietly.
Say they remain skeptical about the process and ask for city and developers to work with them on a different solution.
Work with the landowner rather than against them, and let's be smarter about this.
Several residents tell me they plan to be at a hearing Monday, May 13th at the Adams County Courthouse, where they worry a judge will grant easement in order to build this drainage system. In Brighton, Gabriela Vidal covering Colorado First.
A Douglas County power couple is using their knowledge to welcome everyone to the outdoors. Angel Massey was a nationally known journalist for a decade, and you might know her husband, Bobby, from his 10 years in the NFL, including a stint with the Broncos. Now they've started Wonderland Outdoors, a luxury Colorado outfitting company which offers guided hiking, fly fishing, and trail rides.
I've realized it's become more of a healing vessel for me. I used to use it during the bye weeks and the off season to have something to look back to, like a joyful moment, to calm me down and bring me peace.
As a Black-owned business with a diverse team of guides, they say they want everyone to feel welcome in the outdoors. And people in Colorado, they love their Red Lobster. 4 Red Lobster restaurants in the Denver metro area are temporarily closed. If you go to their website, you can see the locations in Lakewood, Wheat Ridge, Lone Tree, and Denver are not open. Restaurants in Littleton, North Glen, and Aurora are still open. Last year, Red Lobster reported an $11 million loss after their endless shrimp deal. The store closures come as many Wall Street analysts suspect the restaurant will declare bankruptcy in the coming weeks. For a more in-depth look of these stories and the rest of the news you may have missed this week, you can visit our website, cbscolorado.com.